Good afternoon. It's another day here in Soccer 360, and this is day 7 of the AFCON special edition. Now, I'm your host, Delvin Owino, and you, the viewers at home, you can get in touch with us. Twitter handle will be displayed at the bottom of your screen, or you can use the hashtag Soccer360. Our WhatsApp number will also be displayed at the bottom of the screen. And now, let me introduce my guests here. Co-host Dennis Otieno, you are all familiar with him. How are you doing today?
First of all, it's a pleasure being here to talk about football. I'm excited. Of course, today is the day of the truth. Harambee Stars are going to know their fate in this competition, as well as Tanzania. So we're just looking up to that match. Also, there is a big match of Senegal versus Algeria. So I'm totally excited on the day 7 of AFCON special edition.
Now your attire, you're in all black. Does that mean RIP to Harambee Stars?
Not entirely. It means RIP to Tanzania because they're lovely neighbors, and we cherish them. We like them, but still, there's nothing much you could do. We're just going to bid them goodbye in the tournament.
Okay, Mr. Kevin, you have been lost. You're finally back. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing good. It's actually very good to be here. And yeah, we're here to talk about football. Harambee Stars are playing today. It's a tough match, but we hope we'll win.
Okay. Mr. Rogers, you are with us. I can't remember which day exactly, but how are you doing?
I'm good.
Looking forward to the game?
Yes, actually today my focus will be on Algeria versus Senegal match. Of course, also we'll be looking at the Harambee Stars match against the AFCON Stars of Tanzania. It's more of a final because whoever wins the duel then will be assured of a third place finish and a possible progress to the knockout stages. So it will be it's a night of good games, and so we just wait to get to know the fate of either teams.
Okay, you've heard it from my pundits. Now we have a lot to cover today. We'll be having the match highlights from yesterday's games. We'll also be previewing Harambee Stars versus TZ. That's going to be a derby. And then Senegal versus Algeria, and Madagascar versus Burundi. And then my very own colleague, Davis Beria, will also be taking us through the feedback we have on Twitter, WhatsApp, Facebook, all the social media platforms we are involved in. Now, back to my guys here, but I want us to have a look at the goal of the day. There were not too many spectacular goals last night, but I picked one that was at least a bit spectacular, not too spectacular, from none other than Mo Salah. So please, let's have a look at Soccer 360 AFCON edition goal of the day. Now, that was the goal of the day from Mo Salah of Egypt. Of course, Egypt coming out victorious, 2-0 winners against the DRC. Now, guys, there are not so many spectacular goals.
First of all, let me just stop you from there. You're saying that is not so much of a spectacular goal. I think that is more like a Messi type of goal, because he executed the goal at the least expected time, and that is exactly how Messi scores. If you look at the goal, he has 3 defenders on him, and he still scores. The keeper remains rooted to the spot, so I think it was actually a spectacular goal from a spectacular striker.
Now, why do you like opposing me? Why do you like
No,
opposing
it's
it's the goal of the day, so that means it was the best goal from last night.
You should have said it was one of the most brilliant goals in the tournament. It doesn't have to be a screamer. It doesn't have to be like the Wayne Rooney goal from 68 yards. It doesn't have to be that way. You just look at the execution of the player.
Yeah, like yesterday's goal of the day, the flick from the corner kick.
Yeah,
was
that
it
was
Benin?
also spectacular.
Exactly.
Yeah, it was Benin opening the
yeah, but this
scoring.
was just more a usual goal, kind of goal that you'll see a lot of players score.
I don't think that will be my goal of yesterday. My best goal of yesterday was Kenneth Omuru of Nigeria.
The header?
Yeah, the header.
The header?
At the 80th minute, coming up, nodding the ball into the net. Time was almost running out.
A header.
He has the team 3 points. Like that's a crucial goal. For Salah, it wasn't a crucial goal. Like, man,
yeah, but it was a more spectacular goal than the header.
Yeah, kinda.
Well,
I know, I heard you agreeing with him.
No. Mo Salah's goal was one of those goals that you'll always expect from a guy like Mo Salah. So, talking of it being a particular goal, of course, yes. But for me, yesterday's matches, I will pick Kenneth Omeru's goal, because at that time when he scored the goal and then being the winning goal for Nigeria. So I think, well, I want to post you much, but then that is it.
But then again, if you're looking at the goal of the day, we're not looking at what it meant to the team. We're just looking at how spectacular the goal was. That's another thing you have to take into consideration. Yeah. Yes, if we're looking at other factors like, was it the winning goal? the time it came, then probably
think it's-
Nigeria's goal would have been in contention.
I think both goals were they were a bit more of close ones to call because the two goals were good goals, but then because Mo Salah's goal, I think having three defenders marking him and then just being able to beat them and score the goal. So I think for me it was also. It wasn't that much of a spectacular goal, but then it was one of the good goals.
It was a
yesterday.
goal, yes, but it's not that spectacular
Yeah.
because you're very used to
Yes,
Salah
yes,
scoring
yes.
such goals.
And that's what I
Yeah.
that's what I did say. It wasn't a
And so
spectacular
if
goal. but
Messi
it was
scored
nice.
it, if Messi scored the same way, it would be
No, it wouldn't be
spectacular.
exactly. But Messi would have put some flair and
Some
some
flair inside it,
exaggeration
yeah,
before.
exactly.
But anyway, now before we go into the trivia question, I want to just come back to Rogers.
Yes.
You told me you're not supporting any team in this
Yes,
AFCON,
yes,
if I'm
yes.
correct.
Yes, yes, yes.
If I'm correct, did you say that?
He did.
So I said
he
that.
did.
I need you to give me a team. I just need you to give me a team. I know there's a team, you might not be supporting them, but when you watch them, you have this weak spot for them. You're like, I want them to win deep down.
I think this is also the day I'm also coming out clean to give out the team that I'm
Yeah,
supporting.
and you
apart
as well.
From Harambee Stars.
And
Yeah.
you as well. Kevin, I've not even had your team that
Yeah.
you're supporting, so.
Mine all day, Lions of Tiranga, Senegal.
Senegal,
Yeah.
you know me and Kevin normally support the same team, so it was expected. Let me start with Rogers. Rogers, which team are you supporting? Don't tell me Harambee Stars.
Well, still, I will maintain my position. I don't have a particular team to support, but then going by the matches that I've seen so far, I think I'll give Senegal a nod to go all the way.
Okay, so you're just picking them as the favorites to go.
Yes, 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 yes.
But let me ask you, which team do you watch and you get this feeling in you, like it's a feeling of they have a weak spot in your heart. Which team do you watch and you're like, deep down you do want them to win?
Not really, but then I'll go for Senegal.
Okay, Senegal as well. I know which team you're going to pick because yesterday you uttered it out to me, but which team are you supporting?
First of all, I don't have a weak spot for this team. It's not like I
Yes.
usually watch them and say, I just hope they win. For me, I'm selecting this team because I feel like they're absolute favorites and I know they actually...
Can I answer for you?
Yes, please go ahead.
Egypt.
Egypt, exactly. Exactly. I think Egypt are actually serious contenders for this tournament. Yeah.
Okay.
I think
oh, yeah.
I'll disagree.
Senegal.
Senegal.
No, he's not, but he's 50-50.
But then-
He's just saying Senegal.
I think I'll disagree with Dennis. Egypt's a favorite just because it's
Home
a home
advantage.
advantage.
Yeah.
But coming into the real paper, Egypt are nowhere.
I think
They
Senegal-
don't go
I think-
anywhere close
yeah.
even to Senegal style.
Senegal,
Away.
I think, are very unmatched.
Are we judging this on the basis of one gameplay, one match?
No.
Because
no.
Senegal have
Me,
only played.
Yes, I'm judging it from paper. I know the game is played on the field,
Yeah.
and not on the paper.
Yeah.
But on paper, I think Senegal are unmatched in terms of quality.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know.
Anyway.
I think what I can say is
I
we're yet
think-
to see how that
I
unfolds. Yeah?
think from day one, from the moment I started following these matches up to now, up to yesterday, Egypt for me they're not all that much convincing. Of course they'll go to some level, but going all the way to win the trophy, that will be a tall one to call for them. Still, I'll maintain. I don't have a soft spot for any team, but then I foresee Senegal going all the way.
Okay. Let's see, leave it as that. Now, just before I give you the trivia question of the day, I'll have to give you the answer from yesterday's trivia question. And the question yesterday was, which two EPL players was sent home from the 2004 tournament for indiscipline? And the answers were Babayaro, Celestine Babayaro. He applied his trade in Chelsea, and then Yakubu, the ex-Everton and Portsmouth player. So a number of people yesterday were complaining that the question is a bit tricky.
Yeah.
And people are just mentioning either Babayaro, Yakubu. They're not mentioning both. But the answer is Babayaro and Yakubu because it asks for two APL players. Now, it's time for today's trivia question. Let's have a look at what today's trivia question is. Now, the trivia question for today is, Harambee Stars' maiden at the AFCON was 47 years ago. Which teams were they grouped with? I'll repeat that question. Harambee Stars' maiden at the AFCON was 47 years ago. Which teams were they grouped with? I know this is a tricky question, very, very tricky question, but I know the answer. I know you don't know the answer. I know you don't know the answer. I know you don't know the answer. 47 years ago, I know
Yeah.
your parents haven't even thought about you people.
When you're reading out
in
the trivia,
existence.
when you're reading out the trivia question, Rogers just looked at me. He's like, "What?"
It's a tough question.
You're like way back in high school, and you've just seen a math problem. You look at your neighbor, you're like, "Little man, It's a tough one. It's a tough one.
So he was like looking at you, probably you'd give him the answer. If it was an exam, or he was looking at you
No,
like,
no,
hey,
I don't
Dennis,
like cheating. I don't cheat.
You didn't cheat in exams?
Nah,
Not even once.
not even once.
I doubt. But anyway, now we had a few games yesterday, 3 games to be exact. But we'll first take a look at the highlights from the Nigeria and Guinea game and the Uganda versus Zimbabwe. Now, those are the highlights from two of the games yesterday. Uganda, Zimbabwe, what a game that was. Chances being missed at both ends, especially Zimbabwe had clear-cut chances. And then the other game, of course, Guinea been sent home. Their chances right now of qualifying are very, very slim after that defeat to Nigeria. Nigeria, of course, have booked their place in the next round. So, guys, we'll discuss these 2 matches and then look at the host nation, Egypt, who are in action against the DRC. But first, these 2 games. Let's start with Uganda, Zimbabwe.
It was a game of missed chances. We saw the incredible Kamabili. That boy is fantastic.
He's fantastic.
He's fantastic. I think this game was Zimbabwe's game to lose, and they actually blew the chances. They had so many chances to close in the game, but they actually lost it.
Now, another question. Zimbabwe, chances of going through. Of course, they know Uganda have to face Egypt in the last game. They're facing a DRC side that have just looked out of sorts throughout the tournament. Which team do you fancy to go through, Zim or Uganda?
I'll fancy Uganda to go through because I've seen the kind of drive they have in this tournament, and it's not going to be, pretty much Ugandans are not going to be pushovers playing against Egypt. As opposed to looking at Zimbabwe against DRC Congo, because DRC is a team that has been battered. They've actually lost twice, so they're not going to want to lose their 3rd match. So I think looking at both sides, Zimbabwe and Uganda, I'd fancy Uganda going through.
Now, another question now for you, Rogers. Now, first, let me just get this clarity. Let's clarify to the viewers. If 2 teams are tied in points, do they look at head-to-head or goal difference?
Because from the way I view it, Uganda will go to that match just to simply pick a point out of it.
Yeah.
Yes, so I think there'll be all that. They'll be defensive, they'll be attacking. So just a matter of let us plan ourselves well, get that 1 point, then we are there. So I
think also a draw is possible because trying to look at the picture here, Egypt have already qualified for the last 16. The coach will want to rest the likes of Salah, Trezeguet. So it can actually get a point.
Do you think he'll actually want to rest, being if they are playing there in their home soil? Don't you think the fans will just want them to clean sweep, 9 points in the group?
Yeah, I think also that's a possibility.
But I think Kevin has put up a very valid point because Egypt are already in the last 16. So I don't see the reason as to why they'd start the likes of Salah and Trezeguet, El Mohammadi and the likes. They're already through.
But then again, being at home, the fans will just want them probably to just put a statement out there, get those 9 points, clean sweep. And
even if they're going to have the big names, the stars, having a Dennis Onyango as your keeper, that is the De Gea of Africa.
Yeah,
after watching the saves that he made last night.
But I wouldn't say De Gea. De Gea has been terrible last season. But anyway.
So who would you want me to say? Ederson?
Nah, probably Alisson.
Bottom line is he's probably the best keeper in Africa currently.
Yeah.
And Uganda are going to bank on their keeper. If in case they opt to become defensive or opt for their defensive kind of a strategy, then they're going to know that the last man, the person, keeping the ball for them is a sure bet. So Onyango is not going to concede easy goals. And given how Mo Salah executes his balls, he's fond of finesses, maybe long-range efforts, and Onyango can well enough, or he's well enough capable to take out those balls. Yeah.
Plus, we know Uganda have Geoffrey Olusimbi as their left back, so he's capable of actually man marking Mohamed Salah. Yeah. So it's a tricky.
Okay, now just before we go on, I just want the viewers at home, you can send us your opinions and your thoughts on yesterday's games and what you think the outcome will be in today's games. SMS line 40920. It'll appear on my top left-hand corner. It'll appear, if you're watching me, it'll appear on your top right-hand corner. And then also our WhatsApp number will be displayed at the bottom of the screen. And then also you can call us. The number as well will be displayed at the bottom of the screen. Now back to you guys. Rogers, I cut you short. Sorry for that.
Yes, 2 things will factor in this match. Number one is simply to finish at the top, and then to look at who will we face when it comes to the knockout stages, because when you finish top, I think in the seedings, they'll be able to face the second team, and maybe that pull that.
Okay, another question. Let me just ask you a question before you move on. And what about the 4 third place teams?
The best third place team.
Yeah,
and I think also we can just write out DRC.
But which teams will they face? Like, okay, I don't
think
get how
we have to
they'll
know,
do a
because
draw.
this is the first time that they've actually added the number of teams. So we're going to see, and just to wait and see on how they're going to do the pooling.
I think it's going to be like the Euros. I think the Euros are the same.
Yeah. So going to this match of Uganda and Egypt, it's just a matter of who will finish at the top. So I think Egypt will really want to finish at 9 points. Uganda also, at the other hand, will really not want to make mistakes out of this, because if they lose, and going by the results, going by the way Zimbabwe has been playing,
Zimbabwe do
so
get.
if Uganda loses and Zimbabwe manages to beat DRC Congo, because I foresee them beating DRC Congo by a good margin of goals. So it's just a matter of how to see on how they'll be able to approach this match. So both the coaches won't really. I don't foresee Egypt putting a weak side. I foresee them putting the stronger side and just simply finish at the top.
Okay, now let's discuss Egypt. They face DRC. Let's not even discuss Egypt. Let's discuss DRC. Talented squad. What has gone wrong?
Star-studded. I think that's a problem. I think, what's his name? Florentin Benge has a problem of choosing his winning formula. Because we saw in the first game, he started the likes of Yannick Bolasie, there was Bakambu.
But I think the coach simply never got his work right, because it's just a matter of how do you feel these players? How do you get to use these players to be able to get the results? So that's where the DRC Congo side were getting all these problems, because going by the first match, that kind of squad that the coach picked, coming into the second match, then you see an all-over change into the squad. So, and also going by the substitutions yesterday, because you see somebody like Bolasi, you put him on the bench, and then you bring him on at those late minutes of the match, and you see some signs of
Some change.
Yes, in the match. So it's just a matter of the coach wasn't just being able to get the right formation and formula for the Congo side.
I have another question. Bolasi, let's just discuss Bolasi for a bit here. Of course, Everton loaned him out. He was playing the championship, if I'm not wrong. He's not actually performed as well as he did in his last season in Everton.
I think for Yannick Bolasie was the injury. There's a time he got an injury whereby he stayed out for long. That's when he came into Everton, I think they loaned him to Birmingham. Then he went to Anderlecht in Belgium. So I think that injury actually affected him. He's trying to recapture the form, but it's not working.
It's not working. Okay,
Yes.
your last comment before you go on a break.
For me also, I'll add on what you said. It's simply the injury factor, because he was out for a longer spell, having an injury, and then also for confidence also plays a factor, because after sitting out for that while, and then you're coming back, and then being one of those star players for Congo, a lot of focus is on you, a lot of pressure is on you. So I think much of it has affected him, and that's why you see him not being able to perform as we always do know of Bolasi.
Okay, now you've heard it here from my pundits and co-host Dennis Otiedo. We've discussed yesterday's games, but we have to go on a short break. But when we come back, we'll be joined by Davis Mberia on the screen. He'll be taking us through our social media feedback, and then we'll be looking at the big game that is Harambee Stars versus Tanzania. Do not go anywhere.